Sometimes a homicide isn't as obvious as you might think. Take a look at this mock death scene.
Wow, look at that. Look at all these injuries.
Was this a fall down the stairs, an accident, or something more?
She actually entered the back door because it was unlocked.
How did this man die and why? Those are the questions death investigators with the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office are tasked with answering. Police officers and medical students are stepping into their shoes to learn how they do it.
This mock crime scene that we have, worth its weight in gold.
Investigators in the field are the eyes and ears of the Medical Examiner's Office, led by Dr. Thomas Gilson. 12 of them are working around the clock in the death investigation unit, along with 5 morgue technicians.
It's detective work, I think, and it's very satisfying from that point that we give answers, a lot of the time.
This mock death scene investigation is the culmination of a 3-day course for police officers and coroners, forensic nurses, and medical students. From lectures to watching an autopsy and learning how to fingerprint the deceased, I learned right alongside them. It's the first time a media outlet has been allowed to participate. Detective Jessica Page with Shaker Heights Police is building on what she already knows.
It's important to know what goes on down here so we can do things right back at the scene.
Joe Stopak, the manager of morgue operations, oversees the investigators.
I think the big important thing we want to get out of this investigation course is that we're there for cause and manner of death. We don't do a criminal investigation, and our findings should support the criminal investigation that the police.
It all starts when they get the call for a homicide or a suspicious death. Police officers are likely already on scene.
Everybody's essential. Everybody works together to figure out what happened. Because just because you're dead doesn't mean you don't have a voice.
I stepped into the shoes of a death investigator at one of the mock scenes. With the help of a GoPro camera, you can see the scene through an investigator's eyes. It starts with a briefing from the police officer and the victim's family member.
The landlord found the decedent in the bathroom.
Armed with some basic information, I enter the scene, and this is what I find.
So a neighbor heard water running from upstairs, and that's when they contacted the landlord to check on what was going on in this apartment, and that's when he came in and found her submerged in the bathtub.
First, I check on the body's condition.
You can see that her face is kind of face down, partially covered by water.
Then I look around the room. No detail is too small. I find some pills and cough medicine under the sink.
So the red flags I guess I'm seeing right now is this empty bottle of detergent over here, as well as the residue that I'm seeing in the sink. I'm not sure what that is.
Then it's time to move the body.
You notice this right here. It appears she has some trauma to her head right above her eye.
But I'm still not sure if this was a suicide, an accident, or even a homicide. I turn to the real investigator in the room for help.
You can have an idea of where you're going with it, but you have to keep your opinions out of it. So we're not going to figure out everything right here and right now.
But you're getting a general idea for the doctors what to tell them to put in your report, so that way they can look at it and be like, okay, this is the scene, this is what was going on.
Death investigators follow the facts. Their job isn't to track down the suspect. It's to find out how a suspect killed the victim. Science guides their assessments.
You can have a lot of things pointing to be one thing, but it can turn out to be another.
Their findings will help support forensic scientists and pathologists back at the office. If they take the case, evidence collected by police can provide important clues. An autopsy and lab results should give investigators a clearer picture of how and why this woman died. Turns out this case was an accident. Investigators ruled the woman died of cardiovascular disease impacted by other health conditions and intoxication from some of the pills found under the sink. It's a job not many people could stomach or would want to. A reminder of their own mortality every day. But it's an essential job that these dedicated men and women wouldn't trade for anything.
I take passion, and I do it for the families. It's just speaking for their loved one.
It's a hard thing to do sometimes.
On the east side, Sarah Goldenberg, Cleveland 19.